I'm Robb O'Day, and we are on location in Kelowna today with Josh Tapp, a multi-instrumentalist from Kelowna, BC. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Good to be here.
It's good to have you. Tell me and everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
All right. My name's Josh. I come from the other side of Canada in Ontario, but moved out to BC about 10 years ago. I've been doing music for probably 18 years, I think now, since I got my first couple guitars. And I've been loving it ever since.
Music is a great escape, and you've managed to work your way into some of the most, I guess, well-known bands in the Okanagan.
Mm-hmm.
And you've worked alongside many bands that many people that we associate with look as the greats at this point. So you're from Ontario, and in your time as a musician in Ontario, how was that? How did the development from being a bedroom guitar player evolve into becoming basically a musician who works with multi-bands?
Yeah.
Like, you've gone on tour with other bands, and
Definitely.
so tell us basically the history of how you started and got to here.
Well, I think it was like 15th birthday. My mom got me an acoustic. My dad got me an electric. Nothing crazy, but starting points. I wanted to do covers because I had seen that like YouTube was kind of just coming out and people were putting videos on there and blowing up and all that. So I wanted to be like, yo, I can do this too. Challenge myself to learn some stuff. Acoustic, I was never really the greatest at. Like, I got the chords nice and easy, but even getting into high school, like I did way better just learning tabs and such, ultimate guitar and all that. And I actually, my first band I played bass in. I never actually owned a bass, but the gear was always like supplied by a friend or someone in the bands, and I was like, yeah, like, you guys need a bass player, I'm your guy, and it was fun. I decided to switch instruments and just kind of mess around, see what happened. So I got behind the kit and started trying to like play, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. So I figured, maybe I can keep trying this and see where that goes. So got into a band with some friends in high school called Depths. So I played drums for them for a bit, and then I played drums for a band called Death Sentence, which was my last band I was in before moving out to BC. That band, we played lots of shows. Probably the most fun band I've ever been in. Actually, it was just like a dirty southern hardcore, and that's what I'm about. I like that.
That's funny, especially being from the north, doing southern hardcore. That's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, the dirty south.
What was your biggest struggle as a emerging artist?
Well, back then, things were a little different with shows, in the sense that you kind of, like, if you couldn't really sell tickets, like, promoters might not really consider you guys for a show. So we busted our butts like crazy for all the shows we played. I got to give a hats off to Brandon Eady. He's one of the main promoters from Ontario, especially in London. Still doing shows to this day, and he gave us a lot of chances. So yeah, we sold lots and lots of tickets, and we're posting on everywhere on Facebook and meeting people downtown or here or there just to try and get on that bill. And as soon as we hit, usually it's like if you can sell 30 tickets, like you're on, like you're good to go. So doing that was a challenge, but it made them see that we really wanted it. So
I think that's the hardest thing too, because I kind of remember those days. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really so big here with the having to sell tickets because it was little bands putting on shows. So it was just every one of the bands trying to hustle their friends' tickets versus a promoter. But it's definitely changed. Times have changed, but I've always been interested in the difference between the scenes across Canada, because the West Coast and the East Coast definitely have two different style of scenes.
Absolutely.
Sounds. So it's kind of cool to see, is your style based around an Ontario sound that's developed a BC sound, or are you still very in your mind Ontario?
No, I'd say it's the first option. Like, out here is surprisingly more heavy oriented than in Ontario. Ontario is more just like a hardcore scene. Even if you've got like your like death metal bands, there's still that crazy underlying hardcore influence to their sound. And you can hear it for sure. Yeah, everyone wants to be Norma Jean.
Yeah.
And for good reason too, right? Like they're great. So out here, a lot heavier. The bands that I've been in out here have been heavier as well, but favorite genre always has been, always will be that like metalcore with a southern influence to it. Just it's all I'm about. Latin breakdowns, so yeah, can't have one without the other.
Watching you drum is almost intimidating because you're so established and well, your craft is so well done, and you look like you're bored doing it most of the time because you're so just relaxed. And
Yeah.
how long has it taken you to develop that ability to be comfortable while playing extremely intricate, fast, and hard drum beats?
Yeah, Planetkiller is still, even to this day, is not an easy task. If ever I look like I'm relaxed, I'm just in the head listening to the click track, just super focused, always concentrated. Still having a great time doing it, but the technical aspect and the challenge of like playing those songs is, I think, is what makes that at least really fun.
Have you ever played anything other than metal and heavy? Like, have you ever done like indie bands or?
Sort of. So, a couple years back, I worked with a buddy, and he was doing a lot of acoustic stuff, but we kind of wanted to start something like thrice sounding. Unfortunately, he had to move to Alberta, so that didn't go anywhere, but that was the closest I've ever got to just like drumming for something kind of like alternative rock style, and really enjoyed that. I'd love to do that, or even just like guitar forward or something.
Right. I often wonder what it's like, because I've played in many genres and done many different things, but like, sad to say I've never dedicated myself to a genre
Yeah.
or a specific style, which is probably where my abilities lack, because I get to a certain point and I'm like, oh, my ADHD kicks in and I want to play something else. So,
Yeah.
but I like with drumming, I find that that's the perfect focus. Like that's where, even when I'm up behind a kit, that's where I feel most comfortable, even as a guitar player, because that's what I have to classify myself as. But
Just like doing metal.
yeah, because like as a drummer, it's just I feel like people just maybe don't fully understand what drumming could be because we're stuck in as the backbone of bands.
Yeah.
Do you think that you'd ever do like a Josh Tapp album, EP, that was not strictly metal but had heavy influence with a bunch of different artists, and then just put that out, but it was being worked around your drums versus you working around the melodies?
Okay. So there are a plethora of unfinished songs that I have from over the years. And as I, got better and better at playing drums, my ability to write the drums in either like tabs or a music program also kind of came with that as well. So I have definitely considered the idea of doing like a self EP with a couple different genres, just to kind of show that I can do more than just really crazy fast metal stuff, or also more than just like punk. Some metalcore stuff in there as well. And like I was saying, I would like to do like a alternative track as well, something thrice like, stuff like that. It would probably be the melody from the guitar would be like the main kind of center point for each of that though, but the drums would definitely, like, I'd throw my flavor in there for sure. In Descendants, that was the one time I think I played drums in a band where everything that was being written like was 100% just me. So I really got to like mess around with things and put the snare wherever I wanted and that kind of thing. So yeah, I would definitely consider it for sure.
Because that's I would love to see that because I've heard your drumming, I've heard your singing, I've heard your guitar playing, and just to see an entire project that's just you with a couple featured artists, maybe some vocalists or a bass player here and there. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, bass players hit me up.
Right.
I don't have any software stuff for that, so I would definitely need some live ones for sure.
So back to Planetkiller. You guys just recently, I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was December 5th. We put out our third EP titled Violence.
How was the release?
Very good. The show, fantastic. We always have a great time. We had the boys in The Unending come out and play a show with us, and I think it was the third time we've played a show with them, and every single time it's just so good. So good. Their sound is evolving too. They got some new members, and yeah, it's really cool. But like, we just said, we're just gonna try whatever, like whatever feels right to us. Just throw some fun stuff in there, especially for the last track. In the middle, there's a little hidden gem of a sound. So that's fun. But yeah, with Noah in Ontario, sometimes we'll come out and we'll have them for a couple weeks or so, play some shows and do a little bit of writing. That was a bit of the process for that. So me and Alex do live together. He's got a studio room up there, and yeah, we do all of it there in-house, and he'll mix and master and all that jazz. So coming from the first EP to the latest one, you can see the progression that he's made, and yeah, I think it's just getting better and better.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Is the journey of a musician is constantly evolving. And I find most musicians will want to be, especially here, want to be super, super heavy. Mm-hmm. And then they develop their style. Like right off the bat, we want to write the heaviest thing, fastest thing. But
yeah, come out strong.
Come out strong and hard and swinging. But in reality, like the craft takes years for bands to mold to be able to write. So you usually wait 3 albums before you can hear the best of what a band can produce, right?
That's true.
And especially if there's bands that have like members who leave and different change-ups, and it's a weird connection. I always laugh and say it's like having 5 girlfriends or 5 boyfriends, right? Like 5 spouses that you like who had one baby. And like that baby is the band.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of emotion that comes with writing an album, with performing the songs and the build up.
Yeah.
That it really builds the bond, which makes that music what it is. Because anyone can write riffs and songs and put them together and put them out.
Yeah.
But to have like an emotional standpoint behind a song that people are just like, wow.
Yeah, you just kind of feel it.
You feel it, and then that's the difference. And I think that bands are too quick to put music out. It definitely becomes like it's hard too, especially like when you're younger. You have all the time in the world. Like you don't have families and jobs and spouses and all these like obligations. Do you find it hard to get away from adult life as like the whole group to get together and just
that is
be
the
a
main
band?
Issue 100%. Like in high school, everyone's pretty much got the same schedule, maybe a weekend job once or twice a week. You got a shift or something at McDonald's.
Yeah.
But it was a lot easier when we were younger just to find that day that once a week everyone could just get together and hash out some stuff and just hang out. But yeah, I'd love to get back to that point, but life's so busy for everyone, so it's tough.
I feel like, yeah, and that's like that's where I was kind of like earlier when talking about like the difference between back in the day, being a musician versus now, is because it's not just getting together and writing music. You got to like schedule online posts.
Yeah,
and who's gonna manage this? Who's gonna manage that? And that it becomes like a full-flung business that people don't get paid from. It's been a slow progress, but we're finally getting to a place where like older musicians and bands that may have been around for 20 years are now getting huge.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see because it kind of gives everybody that hope that you're not too old.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that like personally I struggle with constantly is that like I'm going to be 35. Am I too old to be in a band?
Yeah.
Well,
I know that
no,
feeling.
but realistically, like, you got to chase your dream if that's your dream. It doesn't matter how old you are, because you can see people who are in their 50s finally doing what they love and becoming successful.
Yep.
So with aspiring artists, like, I think they have almost a harder time now than we did,
Yeah, they have to put in like twice as much work,
if
I
not
think,
more.
for sure.
And I think even to get, like, we have a local band here they're underage, and I'm going to be trying to interview them.
Floodgate?
Freeze the Fall, I believe.
Oh, Freeze the Fall, yeah.
And it's amazing to see,
Yeah.
right? Even Floodgate.
Yeah,
Like,
I was gonna say they're great.
Floodgate is incredible, and they hustle, and
Super talented.
that's the thing. They're talented. Like, you
Super
look at them and you're like, how do you guys not have 25 years experience? You're not even 25. It's
Yeah.
because that's what they
That's
do.
the drive.
Right? They don't.
I think back too, like there was a point when I was around that age where I was way better at guitar than I think I am now. Like, and
That's how I feel daily.
I put in the practice back then. Like, I put in the work. So
Yeah.
that's my biggest tip is like, if you want to hone your craft, just you gotta keep practicing.
We're all friends. All the bands are friends.
Yeah, that is nice.
But there's this, like, we're all pushing our music so hard.
Yeah.
And so much further that it's like the Kelowna music scene, I feel, in the next couple years will blow up with the amount of bands that have the skill level that we have here. And with, I've said it before, with like Spirit Box being from the island
Vancouver.
and becoming one of the biggest bands in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
the eyes are on BC and Alberta, because the West Coast has been hidden for what talent, because it's so underpopulated.
That's true.
Nobody comes through here. Kelowna's not on the Trans-Canada Highway, which is where most of the big bands will go if they're on tour.
Yeah.
So, like, Kelowna's kind of an off bracket. That's why Kamloops gets most of the big shows, because they're on it. So Kelowna, I find, is kind of like this hidden gem within the music scene. And because we're only 4 hours away from Vancouver, we blend with the Vancouver bands really well, and we work really well with them, interchanging. Like, we bring them here, they bring us there.
Yeah.
But it's not, like, I've been trying, like, over the years, I've tried to connect with bands from Ontario to get that cross going, but it's just so hard to travel.
Yeah.
Because realistically, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, there's not really a lot of places to perform.
You don't hear a lot of shows there either.
Yeah, and
Even,
Alberta's
like,
got a
cross-Canada
handful.
tours.
Like, you can go to Ontario and tour
Just Ontario.
just Ontario.
Like 50 places, yeah.
But BC, it's like 3. Alberta's 4. Saskatchewan's 2. Like, it's a very small
Little kind of
bridge to go through.
Yeah.
Emerging bands, I find, have a hard time because they don't know those little things. Like, we need a book to give emerging artists. Like, here you go. Here's the dummy's guide to being a band.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of trial and error. And, like, there's bands that I've opened up for that are like same age as my mom that were massive, and they still do the grind through BC.
Yeah.
And it's just, you got to do it right, and you got to time it out, and there's a lot of options too, funding wise.
Oh, definitely.
Which is a nice thing. BC is very helpful with that, and there's
Canada
a lot
even has like some grants for musicians and stuff too.
Yeah, so as long as you can get into it and you understand the business behind it, which is the sad part, is it becomes less of a passion and more of a business. But if you love,
you got to find that half and half.
And that's the hardest thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
In any medium you do, right? Especially like, while you were becoming a musician, what was your biggest struggle?
I guess it'd be like just having the time. Again, a lot easier when you're younger. Nowadays, that's the main struggle, is just time for everyone. I always appreciate the challenge of learning new stuff though, so if it was like a new riff or something crazy behind the kit, then like have at her. But yeah, it's just making sure everyone's got that same time frame to be able to get it done, and then knowing kind of what each person wants from the band and being able to branch from that, because if you know, someone just really only wants to do it for fun, but then like a couple other bandmates are like, want to go somewhere, we want to go somewhere, then you gotta like make those kind of compromises and figure out where you can actually realistically get to and what amount of time it's going to take to get there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the big struggle for sure.
Yeah, that's the hard thing too, because you can write the music, but you gotta practice it.
Exactly, yeah. We most so just kind of like practice on our own, and then before a show comes up, we'll get together, have a couple practices, make sure we're all, you know, feeling it all tight in the pocket, and then go from there. But yeah, having that like once a week or even once a month practice with all the members is pretty hard when he's a little far away.
But the thing is, you guys are such skilled musicians, each of you, that I find like you wouldn't know. You guys, like listening to you guys live and hearing you, it's like watching you play. You would not know that that's how it is. But that's the majority of most bands, to be realistic.
Yeah, and this is Thor's first like, you know, crazy metal band. Like,
was Thor in bands before?
No.
No?
Like, yeah, this is his first thing. Like, he's insane.
Wow.
And especially again from EP 1, 2, now 3, like his progression is just nuts. Like,
dude, he's one of my favorite vocalists locally, if not like within BC.
Yeah,
he's just so fun to watch. He looks like he's like there's just like there's some points when he's screaming and you're like he's about to snap. You can see it in his eyes.
You
you
wouldn't expect him to be making the noises that he can make.
Yeah, I think that's a crazy thing too with vocalists. Like,
yeah, he's nuts.
Just dedicated vocalists are like some of the craziest. I do not understand how they do it. Like, I can sing, I can kind of scream, but like to do some of this, like the things that they do is like it's that dedication. They sit there and they make weird noises all day, every day.
Yeah, I've been there.
Right. What other kind of hobbies do you have?
I like skateboarding a lot. I wish it translated to snowboarding because of, you know, the mountains. We got Big White pretty close, but it did not. I've tried a couple times and I don't know, I can't figure it out. So yeah, skateboarding is really big for me. I'm trying longboard pretty much anywhere I go here in town because it's small enough. Like I can get there, save some money.
Yeah.
But it's also like just again the views too. Like you're in a car, you're taking like a 10-minute drive to get somewhere, but it might take me like half an hour to board there, and I get to actually experience like everything. So that's fun. Love video games. Classic, of course. Grew up playing like Zelda and all that stuff, so definitely love that. And yeah, that's more or less kind of what I've been working on aside from music. Just those two things.
So you could pursue one of those as a career. Man. Which one would have you chose? Skateboarding or video games?
Well, the funny thing, you know, video games. I don't know. I wish I could say both. I love skateboarding. I do wish I was better at it, but again, need more practice. So, had a lot more time. Again, in high school, same thing. Just I used to live down the street from a park. I'd go hit the park up at pretty much every day. If I wasn't doing that, I was playing video games. Never got overly like really good at one, but seeing like, you know, people playing whatever game now for like millions of dollars in cash prizes, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
like,
man, it's insane.
I should have just kept going, you know?
Yeah. Right? You're like, They always told me video games weren't going to make it. Video games and music.
Yeah, what now?
One of those was right.
Yeah. Parents are like, you're never going to make money on those video games.
Honestly, I think games are, like, I'm a gamer too, but like, I think that games have evolved in such a different sense now that people don't realize it's not just like platforms that we used to grow up with. There's some games in there that will like take your life.
Yeah, all the
forever because it's so like they're so fun.
Yeah.
And entertaining that like you can get lost in them for months if you don't know how to like moderate that.
Yeah,
and I've
put a lot of hours into like Skyrim. I can imagine you've done the same.
Oh man, many games. Like I don't even want to list them off, but it takes a special breed to be what I classify a musician as, like a person, a performer, an entertainer. It's there's a rare breed who are willing to put themselves through the amount of work, the amount of years, and they're all very humble. Like, I find that you see the rock star ego for like big, massive bands.
They're
And
actually
I don't
all
think
really
that
nice, though,
there
right?
are a lot of them are really nice.
Yeah.
Like, you've opened up for many bands.
Yeah.
Like, give a list of some of your favorite bands that you've opened up for.
Well, number one I'd say would be Motionless in White. I met those guys behind the stage, and the band I was drumming for, Death Sentence. We did a Ghost Inside cover, and I guess that's like one of Chris Motionless's favorite bands. So he was like, "Dude, that was awesome." And I was like, "You're awesome!" Like, thanks, dude. Like, I appreciate that. Like, it was super humble. The whole band was like really nice, so they're cool to meet. Yeah, I mean, like the Counterparts guys, like Brendan's a really, really, really stand-up dude. Tons. I mean, a lot of the Ontario scene is all like that. They're just like super nice. Like, you wouldn't expect it. You see them on stage and you're like, those guys are kind of frightening, but like, no, we're all just a bunch of big baby boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's super nice, so yeah, it's good.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I find it, that's like the funnest part of being a musician, is like getting to meet other musicians and like the bonds that you create.
Yeah.
Especially like when you talk to them years down the road and you don't have, like, you know, like you've made friendships and it connects and it stays. If there was one thing that you could change within the music industry, what do you think it would be?
More venues for sure. Like the ease of access, especially with that. No merch cuts. No merch cuts. Ridiculous. Y'all making enough.
Yeah, that's a hard one too. That's like, I find that one's like morally wrong. Like, you didn't buy the merch, so why do you get any cut of the merch?
Yeah.
That is a difficult one.
They make twice as much in drink sales than we do for merch anyways, if not more. That's kind of really it though. Everything else is not too bad. We just need more places to play, and I feel like the more that there is, the more opportunity there is for more shows, more bands will come through, and it just might steamroll that way, but just wishful thinking, you know.
What advice, because there are a lot of emerging bands coming out of the Okanagan, and being one of the top dogs behind the drum kit, as like I'll hands down say you're probably one of the best drummers in the Okanagan. There's a top 10 easy.
Oh,
I don't know how to categorize it, but realistically, what advice would you give somebody who's trying to come up in our scene to break out even further?
100%, hands down, number one answer is going to be just putting in the time to practice. That is 100% it. Like, there's no way I could play the stuff that I can play if I wasn't just slaving behind the kit, trying to sort each piece out, or even times where I filled in for bands on like a tour and they're like, hey, can you learn our stuff in a couple weeks? And I'm like, okay, like, let me dissect it, play it a couple times, figure out what I'm struggling with, work on that, and just keep at it. So 100% it's got to be practicing. Just kind of telling yourself it's not going to be easy right away. You're not going to get it right away. But yeah, if you put in the time, like, you'd be surprised what you can do.
Yes.
100%.
It's very true.
Goes with any instrument too. Vocals, drums, guitar, anything. Like, you just got to put the time in.
Yeah, I think it goes for realistically anything that you want to be
Absolutely
successful at, because like every artistic endeavor has its own challenges and unique traits and ways to go about, like little shortcuts that you won't learn by yourself without making mistakes or asking.
Trial by fire, for sure.
Yeah, and like painting's a prime example. Like, music might be a little more difficult to like visually put down as like how hard it is, but like, look up some sheet music. It's I don't understand that stuff at all. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like,
big into the tablature, but like
yeah,
looking at the tab and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look at the notes right above it and I'm like,
there's a science.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, it's not just music and hitting notes. Like, there's a whole science. Like, I would almost use like a whole spiritual aspect behind it.
Yeah, the feel for it for sure.
Yeah,
Get the
because
vibes.
like, I'm not a I'm not a musician who knows how to read music. Like, I don't know theory. I don't understand it because I've never really like tried to learn it. But I feel like I'm at a point where like if I tried to learn it, it'd be like relearning everything. So I just kind of gave up on it.
Yeah, I think
But
I'm in the same boat for sure. Like I was saying, I just kind of did stuff until what I was hearing didn't suck. You know, I'm
that's
like,
exactly how I
I
learned.
don't know, maybe not that. Let me try something different, either on the kit or guitar or vocals or whatever, and just keep going until I'm like, yeah, that's a bit better.
Yeah, like I watch my friends who are like, oh, that's a G minor, or this, this,
Yeah,
that's that. I don't know what.
this scale, that scale.
That's an S chord to me, bro. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to play guitar. I know how to play drums, but I've learned everything by ear
Yeah,
or by feel. Like, if it
Yeah.
sounds or feels wrong, like, obviously it's wrong.
yeah,
And I feel like that's the hardest thing to put down. Like, that's where I was trying to, like, say is, like, painting visually, you can see where you're messing up. And you can, oh, I messed that up. I can cover it up. But with music, it's kind of like,
on display, right
dun,
then
dun,
and
dun,
there.
and it's off, and you're like, you
In your
know,
head,
like,
you just hear like the crowd from Guitar Hero booing.
yes, exactly, right? Like, at least painting, you can cover it up, but like, constantly, like, especially on stage, making a mistake is like, you literally just have to laugh it off.
Yep.
You
You're like,
cannot,
nobody noticed, I swear.
no, nobody noticed, I
Yeah,
swear,
yeah,
exactly, because like, there's been countless times where I've messed up on stage. Just look over at Norm and start laughing because he knows,
Yeah.
and he knows, you know,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, the crowd doesn't know because
Yeah.
they're so locked into what they're hearing, what they're
That's
feeling.
a full sound, not just specifically like one thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part of like that intricacy of band members creating something. Like, yeah, one person can write it all. But at the end of the day, when it's like syncing up like a zipper, you know what I mean? And then it's just like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it comes together.
One thing that I want like the younger kids, the younger generation to know is like, don't expect it
Yeah.
right away. I think it's the best advice any of us could give any other musician that is coming
don't
up.
just give up if it's not working right away either.
No.
You
Like,
gotta get through those.
you gotta
little
make your
things.
mistakes.
You gotta play shows to 5 people a bunch of times, and then the big shows will come.
As Rob McLaren would say, you'll play, or like Rob always made a point to me, like you'll play shows, more shows to your friends who are in bands. So you're playing to other bands more than you are playing to fans when you build up.
Yeah.
And like the amount of shows I've played with Rob over the years, like I've played with many performances with Rob with DFY, and that's one of those bands that I wish would have made it as DFY, just because such a unique style. It was heavy, it was beautiful, it was intricate, it was art.
Yeah.
And just same with Lakeman, another one of his projects. You know what I mean? Like, such amazing bands, and it is nice to see like the top dogs too, like the Unending coming out of a hiatus.
Yeah.
And PK dropping a new album, and just there's a lot happening, and I think that there was like a huge push after the pandemic to like shows, we gotta do shows. Then none of us really focused on like, we were so focused on writing for so many years that performing became like, we hyper focused on performing, and then all of a sudden it just went and everyone was silent for a while.
Yeah.
And it was like these kind of new bands came up, and like there's some new great bands that have come out since that little divot in the music is like Idio fame. Love them. I've gotten to hear a couple of their things from like their reels, and I dig it.
Yeah,
And
they're
Jude's
great.
an amazing drummer.
Yeah.
He's the drummer for Floodgate, and
Dude.
Floodgate's another one that just, hands down, like,
That guy's insane behind the
if
kit.
there's any band in the Okanagan to keep an eye on in the next 10 years, it's Floodgate.
Absolutely.
Those boys are insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all of them. I love them all. They're such genuine musicians, genuine kids. Is there anything you want to, any notes, anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, we've covered a lot. One other point with the video game thing, I think, as well, though, is the music behind a lot of the games that I grew up playing is, I think, what drew me more to them than, like, the gameplay itself.
Like the music that's in the games.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I've got a song from Zelda tattooed on my arm. Just 'cause
Right.
like, that melody stuck with me for so long. And
Like, I would love to write scores for video games, or like,
dude, voice acting, something I've always wanted to do myself, too. It's like a hidden thing.
right?
Just,
Or
like,
why not?
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like, it's such a cool thing. Or like, writing guitar riffs for like jingles. Like, there's so many things you can do with music that I don't think that there's like so much opportunity as a musician. I think that we definitely just get stuck with blinders, just
Yeah,
like
seeing what
that
we see.
fame.
Yeah.
Fame. It's like success.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that would suck without music, that is for sure.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as good, for sure.
Honestly, like, I'm trying to think of what the game was. Twisted Metal, maybe?
Oh, Twisted Metal,
And
fantastic.
like the music in it was like, I
Yeah.
always was drawn to heavy music.
Yeah.
So like to be a heavy metal musician isn't really a surprise, but like I think some of my favorite games have metal in it. Like growing up with Duke Nukem and Doom, and like that's what I grew up playing. So like that music in the background, like I can't remember who wrote it, but like it's metal.
Some crazy
It's
bands,
heavy,
for sure.
especially for the time that it came out. So like growing up playing those games, probably shouldn't have been playing those games. When I think about it, I'm way too young now that I think about them. It was terrible, but like,
Just blowing
yeah,
stuff up.
no, it's true. I still have like there's games, music that I'm obsessed with still to this day. I've never actually thought about that.
Dude, there's always little jingles playing in my head from like either movies I've seen or games that I've played like all the time. Especially Pokemon and Zelda related, like all the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can catch myself singing the Pokemon theme song.
Yeah, or like the
Quite frequently.
Lugia's song from that movie as well.
Yeah.
Always stuck in my head, the little flute melody.
Yeah.
So good, dude.
No,
so
it's
good.
true. Awesome. Well,
Yeah, man.
I want to thank you for being on,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you guys next time.